Hey guys, I am super excited to share my new, now finished Zelda section of my ever-growing Nintendo theme park completely made out of Lego. I have doubled the size of the Zelda section over the past 3 months, getting ready for Brick Convention in Orlando, and I've added a Legend of Zelda roller coaster, which was always my goal. The whole way throughout the process, I've been vlogging and taking notes as I've been going through, making pivots and changes as things weren't working or as I was getting close to the deadline. So buckle up for a long video and let's take a look. Before I got started, I took this photo of the blank canvas, I guess you could say. What's sitting here is all that was left of the Zelda land after we dropped, or when I say we, I mean I dropped the front half of it last August when loading out from a convention. Here you can see Jack and I starting the build. I'm putting up the first bits of track to try to get a track layout. Here we're working on the horse ride. I'm finishing that up. In my last video I explained how the horses are moving using a product called GoBrick underneath, so you can go check that out. Then I spent a lot of time doing mills plating. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's when you raise all of the ground level up off of the original base plate with brick. It gives you a hollow area underneath so that you can run wires and also can create levels in the ground itself. For example, my pathways are 1 plate lower than the grass. Hey guys, I'm about 1 week into my build, finishing off the Zelda land that's been about a year in the making right now. And I wanted to give an update as I'm starting a pretty long weekend build right now, trying to see how far I can get on this thing. So here's a quick update on what we've accomplished this week. I have shown you already that we switched out the horse ride mechanisms using GoBrick underneath the bottom. I finished out the fencing around it. It needs a lot more props and barrels and things of that nature, but underneath the queue area here is the motor that runs it. There's actually a Lego motor that is spinning the crank that moves the horses back and forth. I've started to pull out some rock pieces from storage and put them around because the goal is to get the land layout so that I can get the track layout for Farash's Flight Coaster going. So did a lot of mills building to get this all up. The thought is obviously the pathway comes through here. We're going to probably take off the tree, put him down onto the plate, and add a little bit of interactiveness here. We're talking about maybe turning him into a Karak cafe with a few little tables. You have still have the sword here, the master sword, and do that. Then the path will lead this way, and that will get us into the coaster loading area. Gonna plan for some waterfall to come down here to feed into this river, which I will do there. The general thought is that you load here, you drop down, you have the spiral lift hill that takes you all the way up, then you'll go over. Right here in the middle, you have the giant castle, and the problem I'm running into right now is I've really run out of gray plate, so I have to go get some more gray plate, but as the coaster comes over, it'll come up around the castle. He will spin around the top spire a few times, do a little bit of a drop, come here, come over the waterfall, and then this big grass area here is an area where I'm going to do another spiral that will get us back into the station. So it's going to be a lot like a dragon flying around in circles and spirals. Hoping that it comes together. So right now the goal is, because I'm not ready to leave to go get some more gray plate yet, is I'm going to try to do a rough coaster layout to see if I can work. I also have to find a mechanism for spinning here that pushes the coaster cars up to see how that goes. We've also got a rough design of the cars here, but I'm missing some miscolored tiles and pieces, so we're working on those. But my son, he helped out with the design of the head and the design of the car, which I helped to finesse a little bit. It's really looking pretty good. We're going to change some coloring. We're using all these different shades of green that aren't the typical Lego green, because Farash is the kind of a lighter whitish green at times, and is the lightning dragon. So very exciting. Wanted to give you guys an update and get to building. All right, so we're a couple days later, and as you can see behind me, I've started to try to lay out the coaster setup. So the biggest problem I have is I just don't have enough track. I'm going to try to do a big spiral lift hill thing, which I've seen online several places. I think in the last season of LEGO Masters, the guys even did that on their roller coaster. But I just don't have the track to do it. Let me take you a little bit closer to show you where I'm at. All right, so I've started with just, as you can see, all the sticks in the air and lots of mismatching to try to figure out what I'm going to do for the coaster layout. My thought, as I said, is that this gray section here will actually be the load-unload area, which will look like a bridge that goes over the river. It's a little bit of a shout out to the Breath of the Wild game, because many people get onto Farash's back by climbing up on this bridge in the Hyrule area and jumping onto his back. Kind of fun. This long tower of sticks right here is going to be a spiral lift hill with a thing that spins that takes it up to the top. It goes down a drop hill, and then it goes around the castle, comes back down and around and over. Here's the problem that I'm having. Number one, I don't have enough track to even complete this right now. I've already put in a brick link order. I should be getting it later this week, hopefully. Also, this is way too low to the ground for the castle. I really want this to be going up across the top center spire, which means it has to go even higher. So my problem is I just keep building height and height and height and height and height to try to get it tall enough to be where I want it here. I've kind of set myself up for a lot of crazy height because, of course, the castle's already sitting on top of this huge mountain area right here. So been running into a little bit of roadblocks along the way. So what I thought I would do right now, as I'm kind of reaching a point of frustration with the track without really the pieces to even get it into a testing phase, is that I'm going to try to start building the sections of the castle that I need, and build the sections with the track around it. So at least I know if that's there, I have a place to start. I've been collecting all kinds of gray bricks and get these at my Brickheads store that I went to locally, and this whole tower right here is actually tons of gray brick that's sorted out. Underneath here I've got all kinds of gray brick sorted out, ready to go. So I'm going to try to start working on that right now. So as I was building this tower, I thought I'd stop right here and show you a couple photos. This is a good building tip for you. I was using these octagonal shaped plates to build the central tower. And if you look, 4 of the sides, the ones on the angle, don't have studs that line up where you can push Lego. To solve that problem, I have used this central column with these plate pieces that have bars around it in an octagon shape as well. Then I've used the headlight brick, and I have attached taller plates for the actual outside walls to a headlight plate on the front. Then on the back of the headlight plate, I've stuck a little clip and then clipped that to the bars on that central column. This enables me to put 4 walls on the angled sides to complete the column. Okay, here is an update. I finished the part of the center tower with some obviously color changes I need once I get the brick that the coaster is going to go around. This took a lot of trial and error, trying to figure out how I wanted to work out the angles, wanted to get some detail on there, some different textures and things of that nature. My thought is, so obviously the train will come in this top section here, do 1 loop around, come out the bottom there. I'm going to add about this high of a section 2 more times. These sections should be a little bit more in the open with windows, but there'll be about 2 more of these sections, and then a big spire cone right there. So at the bottom, I need to make some sort of a section that will actually slide down into something on the layer below it, because when we travel with this or take it apart, I'm thinking this entire tower will slide out of like a sleeve and then slide down into a sleeve that's on top of the castle, so it's not as fragile when moving. But some progress, gotta keep building. All right, update time. I've been working For a few days, off and on. Had to make one trip to Brickheads to get some extra parts, but this is where I have ended up on the center spire for the Hyrule Castle. Did some fun techniques here. A lot of this was I wanted a lot of different textures and I wanted it to be interesting, but I also had to deal with the parts that I had. Got a little croc there at the top, which is actually true from the game. If you make it all the way up there, you can shoot a balloon, get a croc. This was my solution for doing the big cone-shaped spire at the top. I do want to add a few more little details around it. I am going to try to get some little barbs like this and things of that nature to add on to it. The only challenge that I have right now with this is that I am one blue piece short of making it complete. So I've got this gray piece in the back. I found out that even though I found this one right here, the centerpiece there, these blue pieces, I found 3 of them in the pick-a-brick tables at my local resale Lego shop. This piece only came in one set like 19 years ago, and there was 2 of them in like a undersea set. There's only 2 individual ones on sale on Bricklink in Italy right now, so I may have to place an order for those. To buy that set now, it's like $500 to $600, so that's not happening. But hope to finish that out, get the right color there. Right underneath the top, this is actually a bell in here, which you can kind of see in there. There's also another little croc in there, which is true in the game as well. So it's actually, there's a big bell at the top of the tower. You go on down, there's some more columns around the center section, and then you get to the section that actually will have the coaster track coming around it. So the coaster will actually come in here, slide around, down, go on the rest of it. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking right now. The biggest challenge is that I have the top of a castle, but not the bottom of a castle. So it's time to try to make that. All right, my Bricklink orders have come in. I've got lots of brick to build up columns, and I've got lots of track. So what I'm going to do is try to build up my spiral. Of course, once the spiral's built, I also have to build up the thing that actually moves the train up the spiral, which is one of the things I'm a little bit nervous about. And then, of course, I've got over here the pieces I need to actually make the train itself. So right now, it's time to get a working roller coaster and then do all the fun stuff after that. Getting ready to start a really long day of building. I have a whole free weekend day here and got a lot to try to accomplish today. The big goals for today are to finish the track layout. I finally got the height that I need. This is where the spiral will go around, it'll come down. So you're looking roughly at the center of the castle there. I have to connect there to there and figure out how we get to the rest of the bottom of the castle. So gotta finish the track layout, and then I'm gonna try to do a lot of castle building. This is the very first bits that I have started. This is the entranceway with the pillars there. Done a little bit of, been working on this tower over here, which is one of the smaller side towers. As you can see, everything's kind of a mess right now. There are pieces and parts literally everywhere around me to grab from as I am building and working through all of this. Should be fun. Hope to get a lot done today. So here we go. All right, I have a track layout that seems to be functional. There's a few things that I'm concerned about how I'm going to build the structures around it. Obviously, don't have the spiral lift mechanism in yet. I ordered all the pieces for that, should be in later this week. Drops down, comes in behind the castle, goes around the spire right here. That's the spiral around it. It'll come down and it'll travel along what I'm guessing is just in front of or front edges of the towers, probably just in front of the front towers of the castle. Then it'll curve around and go back behind / into the open back of the castle, where it makes another drop down. then comes through the castle and then down over the waterfall in through this area here. We'll use some trees and rocks to remove the supports, have a guardian on top of rocks here spying at the people as it runs around, and back into the bridge. I did a lot of trial and error trying to get a layout that would work. Using the dark blue track is a little bit tricky because you're limited. There's a few critical pieces you have. One of them is what I call the quick drop piece, which is a 3 drop here. I'm getting away with using the light gray here because that's going to be where the load and unload station is, which will be mostly made out of light gray. So this is a good step. Now I have to worry about building the castle around this structure. The castle also for transportation has to be removed. Just barely started the entranceway here and got a couple tower designs going. So for the rest of the day, I'm going to be building castle and then trying to get the castle to fit within the layout of the coaster and see how far I can go with the time I've got. Excited. I like this layout. It looks lots of fun. Just hoping I can work the castle around that. So let's see. All right, update time. We got the track all laid out today, tested it. I did a lot of measuring for where the castle is going to go. So as I'm building it, I can be accommodating the track. My son started working on this. We dropped down the Great Deku Tree, and we're turning it into the Croc Cafe, which is like a little coffee house. So you see these little pedal tables and stump benches where people are going to sit eventually. And then you go and get your coffee or pastries right up there under the Deku Tree. We're going to add some lanterns across through here, and we got a lot of good ideas. But this whole Deku Tree area, which is of course the Lego built set, we're turning that into like a little outdoor cafe right here in the land. I spent a lot of time today working on the front of the castle. It's got these real ugly track supports on it right now. They won't be there because the support will actually come out from the back front of the castle there. But I'm pretty happy with how this is looking so far. Got the front going, got some detail going, got these weird nice little angled spires out of there, and just barely started working on the inside. Kind of have to do it all. There goes Jack flying by in the door. Started working on the inside a little bit here. There's going to be a little bit of an interior, kind of just basically a throne room, as it's kind of like a jumbo play scale sized castle. So looking good. Excited for what comes next. Stay tuned. Alright guys, we are 2 weeks away from Brick Convention here in Orlando, and I'm going to give you an update at what's going on. I've got 2 weekends of building left before I have to load this in, and I've got a lot to do. Let's see where we are. Alright, the coaster layout has not changed much. I know that if I let the train go from up there, it runs all the way down here, which is great. This weekend's big task is I have to put in the mechanism that pulls it all the way up the spiral. I ordered a pick-a-brick order to get a lot of Technic that I needed from Lego. That has arrived, so that's probably going to be one huge chunk of a day. That might be tomorrow's task. Today's task is going to be finishing up the castle. I already did the spire, which the train goes around, which is right there. And then I worked a long time trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to do these side spires on the bottom level of the castle so that the coaster could actually go through it. So as this sets up there, it'll come down off the spire here, it'll go this way, eventually it comes around behind the castle, and then there's a long straight where it actually goes through the castle, meets up to here, and then goes around and out, and actually that point right there is where it drops off the waterfall. That meetup point is right there. I'm pretty happy with how this goes. Been doing a little bit of detail on the interior, which at the convention I'm about the only person who will see it, but I'm the most important person because I want it to look nice since I'm looking at it. So the challenge that I'm running into right now, which we run into all the time, is having enough of the right brick. I need a lot of the 1x1 2-stud high snot pieces. I use a whole ton of them in this build. I thought I was going to have enough, and I have run out. So I'm going to see if I can get lucky enough to find some in the pick-a-brick tables at my local brickhead shop. If not, I'm going to have to order them from Lego. Luckily, they're on bestsellers. They should get here in time. I'm going to try to switch out some of the gray for tan if they're completely hidden in there, and then use them where I use the gray ones where you can see the actual gray color. So pretty excited with all this. Whatever I have a lot of parts are, I'm using for the detail. So those dark grays there, I have so many of those pieces, so thought they'd be great detailing on the walls. Of course, way down the line, probably not until a couple weeks from now, I've got to print out my custom sticker pieces that go on here with the Hyrule emblems and things of that nature. But that's where we are right now. Still got a lot to go, and should be fun. Way down the line, we also have to do all this rock work. I'm not as concerned about that because that's just laying down lots of brick, which I actually have. But this big weekend's task is finish the castle and get the mechanics working. Here we go. Alright, it's about mid-afternoon and I have finally got the interior done. I figured I would shoot a real quick video here because this is going to be hidden in the background. Not many people at the convention are going to see it, but I did all this fun work, so I thought I would take a video so I can see what it looks like. It's a pretty simple interior. It's kind of like a big play scale. The coaster track comes in and around here. There wasn't a lot of room to do things. Obviously, with more space, I'd like to do a staircase up to the throne, but there's just not room for that, and it's kind of a theme parky castle interior anyway, so people could walk in and take photos. But up here is the one throne that is empty. Of course, the Triforce right behind it, some banners, which need stickers with the Hyrule logo. Because this had a big archway that the coaster has to travel through, for the opposite side, I went ahead, I had this custom printed glass panel, window panel, that I had tried to figure out where exactly I wanted to put it. And so I thought, oh, that's real fun. I'll have it in this alcove area off to the side. So you can see it from the front, you can see it from the back. Pretty happy with how this turned out. It's looking pretty good. Of course, it's all about the roller coaster on the front end. I'm really excited with the way the front looks, but getting ready to put on the top, which then the spire, which is over there, sits on top of. So figured I would shoot a little bit of video before the top goes on, and it gets a lot harder to shoot the video. But super excited that it's coming together. It is about midday on Sunday. I'm just under 2 weeks until the convention, and I finally finished the castle. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I had to make some accommodations based on the game castle because of the coaster going around it. The spires and the towers had to be arranged a little bit differently. Proportions are a little bit different, but it still has the same kind of feel as what the Breath of the Wild castle has, with these big long sections that stick out on the sides. I had to put those in, and I thought, oh, what if the coaster came through there? So actually the coaster will go around the back of the castle, and you can see that track piece right there. It'll actually come out right through there. I really learned so much about different building techniques in the process of doing this. There's so much snot building in here that I've really gotten used to working with and doing. Had a lot of fun with some different parts. They had these motor parts, these like engine parts on the pick-a-brick wall, and I just grabbed a whole bunch of them, and I thought I could use those to make it a little bit interesting. And so really happy with how that turned out. Through this archway had to be made really big for the train to come through. So I really like the back end of the castle is over there. So when you're looking through this big open archway, you can see the stained glass window. Zelda's hanging out at home down there. Really had a lot of fun doing this. As you can see, I've got the train kind of stopped here. I've got my test riders and of course Link himself on the front. Did a lot of fun stuff. This actually does have an interior which at the convention I'm about the only person that will enjoy. Like I said, I showed you guys earlier before the second layer came on. It's really just kind of a big throne room. Got some candles in there. The entrance, there's an entrance on each of these kind of alcoves to the left and to the right. And then of course the stained glass little window right up in here. Right there you can see where the coaster will come in and through and out the front of the castle. Had a lot of fun building this and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So super excited. Well, this took about half a day longer to finish than I wanted it to, but next up is motorization. I gotta kind of go from all the little creative detailing that I was doing on here to figuring out how to motorize with all this Technic I've got. The thing that spins in the middle of the spiral to get the coaster up to the top. Once that's done, my two biggest worries are kind of done. Last real big build is the load-unload platform, which will go where you see this gray track. And then it's just going to be a lot of detail, rock work and things of that nature, which goes kind of fast because you're just laying down bricks pretty quickly. Working on that. My son is working on redoing the entrance that had dropped and fell because of the new horse ride, which we've pulled out for space. It's going to be reworked a little bit, but very excited about how things are going on. But Jack said he was amazed by the castle as he saw it, and he goes, well, look at the first castle you built, which was this Bowser castle, which was really the first thing I built when I started the Bowser castle was the very first thing I built when I started the entire project, when I was doing the Mario Kart thing, and then we go from that into this. And I said, well, you know, Bowser's castle is very cartoonish in most of the games, and this has got a lot more detail, so super excited. The only downfall is still that pesky piece. Anybody knows or has one of those pieces in dark blue, message me. I would love to put a comment in there. I would love to replace it. That's why I've got it hidden on the back. But Farash is getting ready to fly soon enough. Cool. Alright, here's what I got going on. Down at the bottom, I've got an XL power functions motor connected with a couple of beveled tooth gears that goes up. This whole thing runs up to spin it. At the top, I've got a second XL power functions motor with another bevel gear, so it's got two things spinning it from top to bottom. They are both actually connected together to this old train controller. And getting it to spin is not the problem. If I spin this guy, it spins just fine. The challenge happens when I try to get a train car on it. Right now I'm literally trying to get just one empty train car to work. This sticks out of the side so that it grabs it to go up. But what will happen is as it gets in there, it'll start to twist the Technic, the black Technic that you see there, and it'll get bound up in there. Like this, and then it starts to jump. So if you look, actually, this actually starts to twist as it's trying to push it up, and then that starts to pop off its motor, and it just stops completely. I'm going to try a couple different things. Number one, I can try to get rid of this motor and just spin it with one motor and see how that works. If that doesn't help, the second thing I'm going to try to do is reinforce this central section here so it does not twist as much as it does. I thought about replacing all of these rods with small rods with connectors, so it was that thicker connector all the way through to keep the twist going. So I'm going to try those two things first. The next challenge, for everyone that I've ever seen do this, they have not used the elevated curves. They have used the standard curves, and it looks like they're using it at a little bit tighter of a spiral. These are the curves that are molded that drop 3 bricks. They come in a couple of the different coaster sets. They come in lime green, they come in this dark blue, and it goes up 3 brick level each quarter of a turn. From what I can tell, looking at LEGO Masters, looking at the other people that can find videos of online, they only go up about 2, maybe between 1 and 2 bricks on a turn. So it's a lot tighter of a spiral and less of going up. Also, the way that these are designed, there's obviously this inclination, which I wonder if it's pushing out on the car too much as it's hitting this area on the curve. So another troubleshooting method that I hope we don't have to breach is to replace all of these curves with standard curves and a tighter spiral. See if that helps. Finally, it is to change the motor solution. This is the best solution I have right now. However, I did notice on the LEGO Masters that the guys had used one of the angular linear motors, which only come in spike education sets now. I actually have one of the old powered up ones that's down in here, but that's what spins the Sheikah Tower, which is not standing right now because it's packed up. So I'm out. So I've actually ordered one of those to put in there as a last resort. Hopefully I don't have to do that, and then I just gain myself a new motor for later. But now comes a lot of troubleshooting. This is the part where I get the most frustrated and worried that I'm not going to get something going. So here's hoping it's an easier solution than a harder one. All right, here's the changes I've made. I went ahead and strengthened the center of the spinning device that's there, added a couple more 90-degree pins, and I completely changed the way that the motor is spinning it to a worm gear scenario. At the top and the bottom, they're basically identical going through there. It does spin a lot slower now, but does seem to have a lot more torque. I switched up my front car design a little bit, and was able to get it and one car to go up a few times last night. The challenge I'm running into is by using these elevated curves, when it gets to this section here where the track is kind of does a little bit of a bend in the drop, it seems to be getting stuck and binding the spinning mechanism then. But was able to get at least a couple cars up successfully. However, I'm going to try the thing I've been avoiding, which is switch out the entire spiral for normal track pieces and have it go up a shallower incline, so that instead of raising 2 bricks each time, instead of raising 3 bricks each time, it'll raise 2 bricks each time, and it'll eliminate this kind of odd piece here, and I'm hoping it'll be a lot smoother. Luckily, I had all of the track in gray that I needed, and some pins and those. I was able to pull these out of my bins. However, if this does work and it does run smoothly, then I have to decide if I want to replace all the gray with the blue. but we'll see if it works first. Here is my current spiral that I'm about ready to tear down. I just am not able to get this to work. My car keeps catching at every joint here unless it's perfectly smooth, and it's just very frustrating. I thought that it was only like a plate off, so I raised everything up a plate additional on top of it. It's still getting caught up in every corner. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna do a few tests. I don't really even like the bending the straight spirals to make this to work. I like it better with the blue spirals. So I have changed it so I'm only using one motor at the top, and that does seem to be better so the motors aren't fighting each other. So I'm gonna see if I can get that working. Hey guys, I am really frustrated and nervous right now that I'm not going to be able to get this spiral lift hill to work. I am back to the original design. There was just so much that was wrong in the new design. It kept catching and it was really bending the tracks the way it shouldn't be. I know that these type of tracks can work. I have noticed that I have to redesign the train cars. They are hitting the posts on the outside, so I need to make them not quite as wide. I think I need to balance out the weight on the train cars to make them run a little bit smoother. And then we're going to try multiple different type of motor arrangements to see what works best. So first up, I'm going to take a few minutes to redesign the train cars so I know that they will pass smoothly. Then we're going to work on getting the weight right. Let's just hope this works. All right, guys, I'm going to talk over the noise. This is a huge step up. I've got just Link's car here running smoothly up this spiral. I had to move the little pin that's holding the little spinning connection that it actually grabs onto to the back of his car. I've noticed that the biggest challenge that I'm having is that if the car gets on its front wheels, then it jams up because it stops and the spinner jams. I've got to keep it tipped backwards as it's going. This is about his 10th time around without stopping, which is great. My problem is he's just one car. So hopefully I can add some more cars and take this for a lesson, but it is actually working, which is fantastic. I've been working on this for days and stressed out and cannot figure out what to do. I'm running only a motor at the bottom right now. Go Link. All right, let's see if we can get some more cars. Exactly 1 week from now, I will have to be set up at the convention in Orlando, and I still got a lot to do. The good news is that I have coaster cars going around the spiral lift and running through the track smoothly, car after car after car. The bad news is I can only get them to work one car at a time. I've tried multiple arrangements with the train. Let me show you what I've done right now. So here is the original coaster design, the Farash design that I had envisioned. It's gone through a couple different phases because we had to make sure that it could fit through the parts of the castle that it needed to. We had to make sure that one side was smooth so that it wouldn't get caught by the spinning device in the middle of the lift. We had to make sure that her horn came down so that she would clear the overhangs. This will go all the way around the track great, it just cannot make it up the lift hill. I cannot get two cars joined together to hit the lift hill. I love this design, and I'm hoping that I can find a way to use it in the future. But since I was able to get one car at a time to go around, I had to change my design. I had to pivot into something new. And this is what I've come up with. This is my single car horse design. At first, I tried to make like a hang gliding setup, but that wouldn't work because it was too tall. Then I tried to make lots of little one-car garages, and it just looked wrong and didn't work. So this is actually a pretty simple solution. I'm trying to stay in the world of Hyrule, and there's very few things that Link can ride around Hyrule. He can ride a dragon, he can hang glide, he can walk and climb, and of course he can use horses. So my Zelda area will have two horse rides. One for the kids and one for the more adventurous. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It actually, to me, looks just like what a coaster would look like, a little ride vehicle would look like this. I've been on a horse ride, I think at Coney Island in New York, that actually I believe has a spiral lift hill as well. It uses a train, but it has the little fake horses as well. The only problem that I have with this is you may notice it's using this cowboy costume front piece for the front, and I only had one of those. So I've got a whole army of test riders over here who don't have horses on their front, but I've gone ahead and placed an order on Bricklink, and I'm hoping that it gets here speedily within the next week, which would be absolutely fantastic. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and it runs smoothly all the way through, which is great. Let's take a look. So as you can see, good old Link in his little horse coaster car will make it all the way up the top. I have gone to using only one motor at the bottom. The top is kind of free and spinning without a motor attached to it right now. With the pin on the back corner of the train car, it actually keeps them up on their back wheels and the front wheels going up, which makes them run a lot smoother. And we've even had more than one. We've had it pushing up 3 cars at the same time, which seemed to work just fine. Not much binding at all. And back he goes. The only challenge that I'm running into is that occasionally he'll sit here without getting caught. But he'll usually rock into place and will be picked up. So now that we've got the coaster working, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I have to finish up. I need to do the load and unload platform. I need to do rock work and some scenery here. Need to finish the rock work there. Build up the rocks here. Do the detailing around the platform here. And then finish off the whole section which will have the horse ride here. So much to do. 1 week away. It should be fun. Stick with me and we'll have it done soon. Bye guys. I just finished the load and unload platform for the Zelda coaster. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I had gotten a lot of kind of interesting pieces. A while ago, the pick-a-brick wall, these motor pieces were on there. I'm like, I think I could do something interesting with those. I'm really happy. This turned out really well. So right here, this will be the entrance. So people will walk from the path up some steps. That'll take them there. They come here. Here's where they'll wait. They'll get on the ride. When they get off the ride, then they exit out this way, down the side and back to the path in the theme park. Had a lot of fun building this. Right up here, there is a station for the employee, which I thought was really fun. And then there's a secondary station down here for another employee that'd be watching the ground level. They both got some lights and some emergency red buttons and fun things like that. But this turned out really well. It'll be a bridge that goes over a little bit of the water, serve as the load and unload platform for the ride. I'm not putting any motor functionality in it right now because I just don't have the time before the next convention. But super excited with how this turned out. And now I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing a lot of rock work and groundwork to try to finish out the land over here. Let's go.
So here I am working on our cliff walls. This is actually a pretty easy technique that you can use if you want to get a real good cliff side. We just start with a dark gray plate, and then across the top of it use light gray slopes and pieces, just kind of in a random order, and it creates a really nice cliff wall. Throw a plant or a vine in there every once in a while and it gives it some really good life. Now, as I was doing this, I knew I wanted to add a new waterfall. There's a big one and then a little one. I'm really proud of how these turned out. It's actually a really simple technique, and I think I'll do a small tutorial video in the future here on the channel. You're just using a lot of 1x2 plates, mostly in clear, but occasionally in light blue, to give it a little bit of motion.
I have exactly one day, less than 24 hours from now. We're going to be loading up everything and taking it to Brick Convention in Orlando this year. I've got a lot of finishing work to do. Let me show you where I'm at, and then let's get to work. All right, I've got the load and unload station done for the Zelda coaster. Been working on this section here. Need to finish the detailing. It's got the rock work. This is the big thing that I was hoping to accomplish, which is that I'd have this guardian here perched up in this rocky area similar to the game, and that the cars would actually go around him and dodge him and go through in between his legs just like that, which is fantastic. This is looking really good. Got all the waterway done. Got my little moblin camp over there. Did a little bit of detailing around the bottom of the lift there. This is kind of like a transition to a rocky area. What I've got to get done today is I actually stopped working on this rock work here to make sure that it was functional. I got to finish up the rock work. I want to do a lot of plant life and kind of weeds that link with Hiya all the way through here. I've got to put back in the horse ride and clean up and finish the path behind the horse ride and redo this one little section of the entrance here that we had to redo for the bigger horse ride. That's the stable horse ride. And then I've got a lot of testing to do. I haven't been running this guy for a long time. You need to make sure everything is ready to go and functional. It's going to be a very busy day. I got to make at least one trip to Brickhead's, my local Lego store, to try to get some parts. There's just a few little parts. I've been using so much dark gray tile for some of the fencing here that I am out. So I need to get some of those. Should be fun. One day to go. Let's get going. Alright guys, we are here. It is the morning that I have to load everything to Brick Convention this year, and I'm happy to say that yesterday I got nearly everything done that I wanted to on the big Zelda expansion. Let me show you what it looks like right now, and then I'm going to document the whole travel time to convention, packing everything up. Let's go. Alright, this is the finished layout here. I've got the Guardian, finished up the rock work, added some plant and wildlife details in here. You'll notice there aren't any minifigures, just a few employees here. The park's not open yet. We're going to get all the minifigures on once we get to the convention. Finished up the Croc Cafe, got some lanterns hanging above it, which I really like, makes it feel like an outdoor cafe. Got the sign there. Got the Hyrule Quest sign. Let's see if we can get it over here. The Hyrule Quest sign on the roller coaster entrance over there for that. Got the Hyrule Stable horse ride for the kids back in here. Set up. Got the goddess statue and pathways reworked. Spidey's hanging out up there. Castle still going good. It's been up there for a few weeks now. Completed. Redid the rock work and these steps are just a little bit. Redid the entrance. Got my the entrance that my son built right here. It's a little bit smaller pathway that leads. Got the Apple game with a Grok there. And got all the fun things. Of course, we got Little Link here on the boat. Throwing to one of my favorite Zelda games. Redid a little rock work there. really good. The Sheikah Tower is not in place because we have to pack it up to get ready to go. So I've not actually seen the entire Zelda land yet with the Sheikah Tower and everything running, where that's all going to happen at the convention. We've got to pack all of this up, and all of this up, and all of that up, and this baby park that's hiding in here behind the curtain up. There's a lot that has to go and about 3 vehicles to get to the Brick Convention. So let's start. All right, we have broken everything down and loaded everything up into 3 different vehicles here. Baby Park is in this one, some stuff in the front seat. We did have one victim already. I'm going to have to fix the spiral lift once we get to the convention. Most of Zelda is over here, all loaded up in the back of this, folded down. Now time to drive really slowly to the convention for setup. All right, so we have made it to Brick Convention. We have started unloading. You can see all the bits and parts that put the theme park together behind me. Now we've got probably about 5 hours of setup, testing. I still have not gotten a chance to power on all the Mario Get rides from last time we ran the convention, so hopefully those are gonna work great. Had a few casualties, little breaks along the way. So right now, put it together, get the theme park running, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
One of the most common questions we get at all conventions is how do you get it here? I explained that it breaks down into several pieces. There's always small breaks along the way. When I started off with the Mario Kart section, I wasn't thinking about traveling, so that only breaks in half into 2 giant 30-inch by 30-inch sections, and you have to have a big SUV to get that section into the convention. However, as I was going along, I made it so that it was componented into smaller pieces and broke down a little bit more. This time lapse you're seeing here represents about the 6.5 hours it took us to get everything put back together so that the park was ready to go.
Well, we've got most of the park set up right now. My son Jack is putting in the new park visitors in the new Zelda land. But we haven't started running anything yet, and that's always the most stressful thing in this, is getting all the rides running, getting all the motors running, and so that's the next big step, and I'm a little bit stressed. I don't want the tower to tip over. It's a little bit rocky, the big Sheikah Tower. So, time to start getting things running. Let's hope we have a good safety rating this year. All right, guys, we are finally here. Brick Convention 2025 in Orlando. I've been working for months trying to get the Zelda area going. Let's take a quick tour of the entire park. This is the first time I've ever seen it all together because I don't have the space at home to put the 13-foot long theme park together. So the big addition to the front here that we've added is a trolley, and the trolley will go back and forth and stop at different stations along the theme park. And then we've got, of course, the classic Mario Kart coaster running. Not a lot of additions there, just have it going. It's lots and lots of fun, keeping it going. Baby Park up and running, lights and all that kind of fun stuff. Got a nice new trolley station there for people to stop by, the games. And then, of course, the Zelda section, which is now finally finished. I've got the Hyrule Castle in the center of it with these roller coaster cars that goes around. I've called it the Hyrule Quest. It's like Link riding his horse all around the plains of Hyrule. We've got a Lionel sitting up high above, looking for people, one of the toughest enemies to beat in the game. It's really great. It accomplishes what I wanted, which is a roller coaster that weaved in and out of Hyrule, went in and out of the castle. And then at the very end of the track, best of all, you come right around a Guardian that's taking aim on you there. It goes right past the Guardian's head and then through the Guardian's legs as it goes back into the load station. It's a real fun ride, lots of fun to do. And so I'm really excited for a lot of people to come and see the park fully open and operating. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let's check it out.
As you guys can see, we had such a great time at Brick Convention in Orlando. A big thanks to everyone who stopped by to say hello. I love seeing all the kids just oohing and eyeing and their eyes opening wide and lighting up when they see all the moving parts and the rides. I love hearing things like, I wish I could visit this theme park, or I wish I could ride that ride. It's kind of part of the fun of building your own little theme park out of Lego. Now, I'm not 100% done yet. I am still having trouble with the spiral lift hill. I'm hoping to make some changes, so I might be making some shorter videos here in the future as I'm making some changes. Plus, I've got a whole new section planned as I'm continuing to grow. Lots more rides to come, and I'm going to document it all along the way. As I was at the convention, I was having a lot of people saying they'd like to see a few little tutorial videos or how did you do that. So in the coming weeks, I'm going to make some smaller builds and show you guys a little bit more of the process and a little bit of how to. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. If you aren't subscribed yet, please do so to help out the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.